Welcome to Top 10 Archive. Most pranks back in the day were just harmless good fun between friends, often ending in embarrassment, perplexity, confusion, or discomfort. Nowadays, it seems the pranking community has borderline, if not entirely passed into, harassment and criminal activity, which has had some deadly outcomes. In this list, we take a look at 10 pranks that ended in tragedy. We'll be omitting any pranks found on YouTube, as almost all of them are fake. Number 10. Posterior Problems Prank. Ranking at number 10 on our list due to conflicting reports of Zhang Dejun's death, we nevertheless added this prank due to the implications it caused to the man's body. Zhang Dejun, a 59-year-old chef at a resort restaurant in Zhejiang, Sichuan Province, China, was taken to the hospital on April 20, 2010, complaining of abdominal pain, dehydration, and had a great deal of anal bleeding. Perplexing doctors, they underwent an exploratory laparotomy, finding a 50-centimeter or 20-inch Asian swamp eel lodged in his rectum. The eel died, but not before biting its way through his intestines and wreaking havoc on Dejun's insides. Through an anonymous source, it was discovered that on April 16, 2010, Dejun had been drinking with friends, and as a prank, they intentionally inserted the eel into his anus when he passed out. Number 9. Stop Sign Prank. Derek W. Greenlee, 18 of Circleville, and Seth R. Stonerock, 19 of Stoutsville, boasted in Facebook posts about their most recent prank involving covering a stop sign in plastic wrap and petroleum jelly so it was nearly invisible to motorists. The 2011 post quickly disappeared when 81-year-old Jean Shea drove past the stop sign and into another vehicle, seriously injuring herself, while her 85-year-old sister, Mary Spangler, died in the crash. Charges were dropped against Greenlee due to lack of evidence to support a charge of manslaughter, while Stonerock received 4 years for involuntary manslaughter. Number 8. Bigfoot Prank. 44-year-old Randy Lee Tinley was killed after being struck by 2 vehicles on Highway 93 in Kalispell, Montana. According to Tinley's companions, he was on the highway in a ghillie suit, or full-body clothing made to resemble heavy foliage, to incite sightings of Bigfoot and prank people into believing they had seen the beast. Authorities report that Tinley was standing in the right-hand lane of South Highway 93 when a 15-year-old girl hit him, and while another car swerved, a third car driven by a 17-year-old girl ran him over. Investigators believed alcohol was involved at the time and confirmed that no dispatchers received calls of a Sasquatch, only the one that sent emergency crews rushing to the scene. Number 7. Ding Dong Ditch Prank. A teenager who celebrated his 16th birthday by playing pranks on his neighborhood in Boca Raton, Florida, was fatally shot by J. Stephen Levin, who mistook him for a burglar. Mark Andrew Drews, a sophomore in high school, was declared dead from a single gunshot wound at Delray Medical Center when Drews and a friend, who were randomly ringing doorbells and knocking on doors, then running away, chose the wrong house to prank. 40-year-old J. Stephen Levin, a Palm Beach County businessman who lived alone, told deputies that he was awakened by a knock on the door, armed himself, then answered the door. At the time, Levin believed Drew was holding a weapon. Levin eventually pleaded guilty to manslaughter in 2004 and was sentenced to 52 weekends in jail. Number 6. Retaliation Prank. Adrienne Broadway, a 15-year-old girl from Little Rock, Arkansas, was shot in the head when a prank went horribly and tragically wrong on February 15, 2014. She was with a group of teenagers who had gone to a house to do a retaliation prank on another teen who had previously pranked them on Halloween. The teenagers had thrown toilet paper, eggs, and mayonnaise on a car parked at the original prankster's house when 48-year-old Willie Noble came out of the house and opened fire. The driver also suffered injuries to his right arm, but was treated and released from the hospital shortly after. Police charged Noble with first-degree murder and was sentenced to 30 years in prison with the eligibility of parole after 21 years are served. Number 5. Drive-by Egging Prank. A 14-year-old teen from Ohio, Danny Crawford, was murdered when he and others threw eggs at vehicles driving on US 40 on December 2, 2006. The driver of a targeted Jeep Cherokee chased after the boys, pursuing Danny into an area of 28 North Terrence Avenue on the city's west side, when Michael Gross Jr. got out of the vehicle and gunned him down. The teenager was pronounced dead at the scene, and authorities wouldn't find the murder weapon until months later under the hood of the Jeep. In the end, Michael Gross Jr. was sentenced to 15 years in prison for Danny's murder and tampering with evidence. Number 4. Halloween Prank. Jordan Moreland, a 16-year-old boy from Louisville, Kentucky, died September 25, 2013, when he tried to play a prank on his sister and scare her by slipping his head through a noose they had hung in the front yard for Halloween. Miss Rodriguez, the mother, said she was doing laundry when her daughter came inside and told her that Jordan was hanging from a tree and not moving, and at first dismissed it as one of the constant pranks Jordan played on his sister. The daughter insisted, adding that he had drool hanging from his mouth. The mother ran outside and quickly hurried to free her son from the rope, but it was too late. After 12 hours of being in a coma, Jordan passed away. Number 3. Royal Debacle Prank. Indian-born Jacinta Saldana, age 46, was found dead in her nurse's quarters at King Edward VII's Hospital in London on December 7, 2012, from an apparent suicide. This was only 3 days after receiving and falling for a prank call orchestrated by Australian radio host Mel Greig and Michael Christian, who impersonated Queen Elizabeth and Prince Charles. As the hospital housed Catherine Middleton, or the Duchess of Cambridge, at the time for an extreme form of morning sickness, Saldana put the call through to a colleague who disclosed private details of the Duchess's condition. The coroner concluded that the hoax was clearly pressing on Saldana's mind, as well as difficulties she was having with another colleague. Number 2. Jump Scare Prank. A surprise gone wrong left a beloved 18-year-old track star dead in Longmont, Colorado on September 6, 2013, when Pramila Lal and her 12-year-old cousin decided to play a prank on Narek Gali, a close family friend. Unbeknownst to Gali, who was playing video games with Pramila's 15-year-old brother, Pranil, Pramilia hid in the recently vacated Lal family home that Gali was keeping an eye on for the family. When they heard a noise, they decided to go check it out, thinking there may be an intruder. Gali was surprised when Pramila jumped from the closet, where he accidentally shot her. The authorities wouldn't charge Gali with Pramila's death, but instead held him on charges of reckless endangerment, child abuse, and providing a gun to a juvenile. Number 1. Cling Wrap School Prank. Sergei Kasper, a 17-year-old boy from Moscow, Russia, was killed late December in 2014 when fellow classmates wrapped him in cling film, placed him feet first in a toilet, then brought him back to the classroom where, being unable to move his arms and legs, he toppled to the floor, hitting his throat on a table. Sergei crushed his esophagus, resulting in his death, while his colleagues snickered in the background, and the teacher, who was in the room, did nothing. All involved in the incident were expelled, with one classmate, Dmitry, trying to defend their actions as simply playing a prank that had gone wrong. Evidence appears to indicate a serious bullying problem, with this incident being no laughing matter.